I woke up this morning and had a lovely cup of tea. I then decided to sit down and begin the first exercise in chapter 1 from The Universe Has Your Back. Then I had to get the kids ready for school.
Is it me, or is it always raining on the school run?
We found a sponge in a puddle. Question, how many sponges do you reckon it will take to absorb this puddle? What do you reckon, Coase? 20 sponges. I, on the other hand, think that it might take a lot more than 20 to absorb that puddle. Maybe 50? So I am back from the school run and I'm going to run around the house tidying up like a headless fly so that I can sit down and really engage in today's meditation. I'm going to tell you all about chapter 1's exercise and I'm really excited to share it actually. It's all about the movie that we play in our mind.
May have got slightly distracted in the cleaning process.
One of the things that I absolutely love about meditation is the way that it makes you feel. The breathing and the following. You can absolutely do meditations without having a guide, but I prefer to have a guide. It allows my brain to calm down and start visually creating the life that I want.
I then had to do some research for Hope on Prescription and send some super important emails out to potential artists, alongside printing out a very big report that I cannot wait to read. I updated the website, so there's lots of upcoming events available for you to come along to and have a listen in. And the background noise was doing my head in because of this bad boy. So, let's have a little look at what I learned in chapter 1 so far of this beautiful book, The Universe Has Your Back. So chapter 1 is you have a hidden power, and we actually do, we really do. I'll give you an example, but before I give you the example, I want to read you the universal lesson. So one of the universal lessons in chapter 1 is when we surrender our will to the power of the universe, we receive miracles. So this is an example. I was invited to a creative health event recently by a doctor and I was absolutely blown away. I couldn't believe that I'd received such an email. I went along to the event, but on my way to the event, I was incredibly nervous because I don't really like being in rooms full of people and having to network, which is really strange because I am quite a confident person. Like I can perform on stage all the time, but when it comes to that one-to-one networking, I do get quite nervous. So I was like, oh gosh, I hope I say all the right things. What if I don't get this right? What if they don't like me and they don't want me to bring my project to the hospital? Like all of these negative stories were going through my mind. So I took a moment to take a couple of breaths because I believe breath is really important. And that is something that I will talk to you about later on in this challenge. So anyway, it took a few breaths and I closed my eyes and I prayed to the universe and I said, universe, please help guide me on this very important day. Firstly, thank you so much for putting me in this position to be able to be here today. It's incredibly important for Hope on Prescription. But secondly, please, universe, can you help guide me to say the right things at the right time to the right people? Because I wanted to make a good impression, but I was so afraid that I didn't know the right things to say or the right things to do. Despite doing all my research, I still feel this way, which is very frustrating. However, we're only human and I'm working on it. So I get to the creative health event and everything goes great. I meet the woman that I was introduced to, everything is wonderful. I sit down, I learn so many nuggets. I learned so much about how it's important for creative arts to merge with health, a movement that will hopefully begin to happen in the future. Now, we then went off into a room and I was in the room and we had to create a script. So we was using theatre to answer a question of how we can not just survive but thrive. And for somehow in the interview, I'd literally was just like
da, 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 da. So breath is important because of this. Meditation is key to getting to know yourself and to calming yourself. Breath is really, really important because it actually can either energize us or it can calm us down. We actually use breath just to survive, whereas we could use it to thrive if we learn the correct tools. And then I went on to say how it's so important to play. It's massive that we still play as adults because it brings back the joy and the happiness in our lives. It allows our imaginations to run free. All of these things that I was saying in the interview, I was like, where did that just come from? Now, of course, all my research has obviously made me aware of all of this stuff, but I'd seemed to be saying all the right things at the right time, which was fantastic. So as I came out, I then realised, I was like, oh gosh, like I did actually ask the universe to help me in that specific area. And it just so happens that it is working. Like this is absolutely working. I'm a big believer in angel numbers. So I was seeing lots of angel numbers. I had to go to junction 11 on level 1. So that was quite cool. And I just sort of said to the universe, okay, universe, please send me a sign. If I'm in the right place and you think that this is the right path for me, please send me a sign. Now, I always tend to ask for butterflies because it's been a big thing for me, butterflies. And throughout the day, I see numbers. It was crazy. It was wonderful. But I thought to myself, oh gosh, I haven't seen a butterfly though. But I kid you not, guys, as I walked out of the hospital, a white butterfly just came towards my face and then flew up over my face. And I had to laugh because I was like, oh my gosh, well, if that was not a big enough sign, what is? Like, almost slapped me in the face. It was just brilliant. And you know what? That day I really trusted in the universe. I really handed myself over to the universe. And I am so glad I did because off of the back of that, miracles are happening. I've got meetings with the doctors to potentially bring the poetry workshops into the hospitals because they are really, really interested. And this is going to be fantastic for Hope on Prescription. And it's a miracle. So that universal lesson, it's so right. When we surrender our will to the power of the universe, we receive miracles. Guys, if that wasn't a miracle that day, I do not know what was, because I'm always really nervous that I'm never going to say the right things. And I asked for support, I asked for guidance, I surrendered to the guidance from them, and that's exactly what I received. So, anyway, moving on. The book then asks you, what are the fearful movies that you are playing in your mind, and how are these movies blocking you from your happiness? Now, this is a really important step to go through, I believe, because you have to figure out exactly what it is that is keeping you stuck. What are you afraid of? What are you saying to yourself? What movie are you playing in your mind? Now, unless you bring your awareness to this, you won't actually know, and you just go about your day saying all of these quite frankly horrible things to yourself. I know myself that I'm the worst. I say really nasty things to myself, and it was through bringing awareness to that I could go, well, hold on a minute. No wonder I'm feeling low quite a lot, because this is what I'm telling myself. Well, that's not acceptable. Would I speak to my children like this? Would I speak to my best friend like this? No, I wouldn't. So it was wonderful to sit down and actually see it is for what it is, you know. The fear of success, the fear that I'm not good enough, the fear that I'm going to get things wrong, or the fear that people aren't going to like me. But you know what? All of those things, like, they don't matter. What matters to you is where you want to be and what service you want to give out to the world, and importantly to yourself. So start playing a positive movie in your mind. And this is lovely because it says to you about reconnecting with your power, because your presence is your power. So bringing yourself into the present moment, heightening your awareness is your power. That is how you are going to get free from the disconnection, and you're going to realign yourself. She then mentions that we should move on to looking at the positive movies. What do we want to see in our lives? And start creating that in your mind's eye. I've used a meditation, which is really, really helpful because I like to be guided through things. But you can also do this in silence. And you just start breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And start exploring in your mind all of those things that you want to bring into your reality. What do you want to create? Tell yourself the positive things. I am good enough. I surrender to the universe for the guidance. I can do this. I am going to do this. Like, it just makes you feel so much different. When you're in the negative movie, you're feeling tired, frustrated, angry. All of these not very nice emotions come up. But when you're looking in your positive movie, you're feeling excited, free, imaginative, happy. And this is how we're supposed to be living, guys. So try this exercise out. Ask yourself, what are the negative movies? And then ask yourself, what are the positive movies? And take your mind through a beautiful journey of creating those positive movies. Thank you for an incredible chapter and a wonderful exercise. Guess what? It's raining on the school run again.
After picking Cohen up from school, I came home and made the family a delicious shepherd's pie. We settled down with a nice warm hot chocolate and some marshmallows. We wrote our grateful thoughts, and now it's time for everyone to go to bed.